So, the book of Numbers, chapter 33. Stages of the journey. The following are the stages by which the Israelites went out by companies from the land of Egypt under the guidance of Moses and Aaron. Moses recorded the starting points of the various stages at the direction of the Lord. These are the stages according to their starting points. They set out from Ramses in the first month. On the 15th day of the first month, on the day after the Passover, the Israelites went forth in triumph in view of all Egypt, while the Egyptians buried those whom the Lord had struck down, every firstborn on their gods. 2. The Lord executed judgments. From Egypt to Sinai, setting out from Ramses, the Israelites camped at Succoth. Setting out from Succoth, they camped at Etham, near the edge of the wilderness. Setting out from Etham, they turned back to Pihahiroth, which is opposite Baal-Zephon, and they camped opposite Migdol. Setting out from Pihahiroth, they crossed over through the sea into the wilderness, and after they traveled a 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham, they camped at Marah. Setting out from Marah, they came to Elim. At Elim there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. Setting out from Elim, they camped beside the Red Sea. Setting out from the Red Sea, they camped in the wilderness of Sin. Setting out from the wilderness of Sin, they camped at Dophkah. Setting out from Dophkah, they camped at Alush. Setting out from Alush, they camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. Setting out from Rephidim, they camped in the wilderness of Sinai. From Sinai to Kadesh. Setting out from the wilderness of Sinai, they camped at Kibroth Hattaavah. Setting out from Kibroth Hattaavah, they camped at Hazeroth. Setting out from Hazeroth, they camped at Rithmah. Setting out from Rithmah, they camped at the Rimmon Perez. Setting out from the Rimmon Perez, they camped at Libnah. Setting out from Libnah, they camped at Risa. Setting out from Risa, they camped at Kehelathah. Setting out from Kehelathah, they camped at Mount Shepher. Setting out from Mount Shepher, they camped at Heradah. Setting out from Heradah, they camped at Makheloth. Setting out from Makheloth, they camped at Tahath. Setting out from Tahath, they camped at Terah. Setting out from Terah, they camped at Mithkah. Setting out from Mithkah, they camped at Hashmonah. Setting out from Hashmonah, they camped at Moseroth. Setting out from Moseroth, they camped at Benajachin. Setting out from Benajachin, they camped at Mount Gilead. Setting out from Mount Gilead, they camped at Jotbatha. Setting out from Jotbatha, they camped at Abronah. Setting out from Abronah, they camped at Ezion-Geber. Setting out from Ezion-Geber, they camped in the wilderness of Zin, that is Kadesh, from Kadesh to the plains of the Moab. Setting out from Kadesh, they camped at Mount Hor, on the border of the land of Edom. Aaron the priest ascended Mount Hor at the Lord's direction, and there he died in the 40th year after the departure of the Israelites from the land of Egypt on the first day of the 5th month. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. When the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who ruled over the Negeb in the land of Canaan, heard that the Israelites were coming, setting out from Mount Hor, they camped at Zalmonah. Setting out from Zalmonah, they camped at Punon. Setting out from Punon, they camped at Oboth. Setting out from Oboth, they camped at Ai-Abarim, on the border of Moab. Setting out from Ai-Abarim, they camped at Dibon-Gad. Setting out from Dibon-Gad, they camped at Almon-Diblathaim. Setting out from Almon-Diblathaim, they camped in the Abarim range opposite Nebo. Setting out from the Abarim range, they camped on the plains of Moab by the Jordan opposite Jericho. They camped by the Jordan on the plains of Moab, extended from Beth-Jehimoth to Abel-Shittim. Conquest and division of Canaan. The Lord spoke to Moses on the plains of Moab by the Jordan opposite Jericho. Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you go across the Jordan into the land of Canaan, dispossess all the inhabitants of the land before you. Destroy all their stone figures, destroy all their molten images, and demolish all their high places. He will take possession of the land and settle in it. For I have given you the land to possess. You will apportion the land among yourselves by lot, clan by clan, assigning a large heritage to a large clan, and a small heritage to a small clan. Wherever anyone's lot falls, there his possession will be. You will apportion these shares within your ancestral tribe. But if you do not dispossess the inhabitants of the land before you, those whom you allow to remain will become barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they will harass you in the land where you live, and I will treat you as I had intended to treat them. The boundaries. The Lord said to Moses, give the Israelites this order. When you enter the land of Canaan, this is the territory that shall fall to you as your heritage, the land of Canaan with its boundaries. Your southern boundary will be at the wilderness of Zin, along the border of Edom. On the east, your southern boundary will begin at the end of the Salt Sea. Then your boundary will turn south of the Akrabim Pass and cross Zin, terminating south of Kadesh Barnea. It extends to Hazar Adar and crosses to Asman. Then the boundary will turn from Asman to the Wadi of Egypt and terminate at the sea. For your western boundary you will have the Great Sea and its coast. This will be your western boundary. This will be your boundary on the north. From the Great Sea you will draw a line to Mount Hor, and draw it from Mount Hor to Lebo Hamath, with the boundary terminating at Zedad. Then the boundary extends to Ziphron, and terminates at Hazar Enon. This will be your northern boundary. For the eastern boundary you will draw a line from Hazar Enon to Shephem. From Shephem the boundary will go down to Riblah, east of Ain. And descending further, the boundary will strike the ridge of the east side of the Sea of Shinareth. Then the boundary will descend along the Jordan and terminate with the Salt Sea. This will be your land with the boundaries that surround it. Moses also gave this order to the Israelites. This is the land to be apportioned among you by lot, which the Lord has commanded to be given to the 9.5 tribes, for the tribe of the Reubenites according to their ancestral houses, and the tribe of the Gadites according to their ancestral houses, as well as half of the tribe of Manasseh have already received their heritage. These 2.5 tribes have received their heritage across the Jordan opposite Jericho. In the east toward the sunrise, supervisors of the allotment, the Lord spoke to Moses. These are the names of the men who shall apportion the land among you: Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun. And you will designate one leader from each of the tribes to apportion the land. These are the names of the men. From the tribe of Judah, Caleb son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of the Simeonites, Samuel son of Ammihud. From the tribe of Benjamin, Elidad son of Chislon. From the son of the Danites, a leader, Bukai son of Joglai. For the descendants of Joseph, from the tribe of the Manassites, a leader, Haniel son of Ephod. And from the tribe of the Ephraimites, a leader, Kemuel son of Shifton. From the tribe of the Zebulunites, a leader, Eliasphan son of Parnach. From the tribe of the Issacharites, a leader, Paltiel son of Asan. From the tribe of the Asherites, a leader, Ahihud son of Shalomai. From the tribe of the Naphtalites, a leader, Padiel son of Ammihud. These are the ones whom the Lord commanded to apportion to the Israelites their heritage in the land of Canaan. From the book of Numbers, chapter 35, City for the Levites. The Lord spoke to Moses on the plains of Moab by the Jordan opposite Jericho. Command the Israelites out of the heritage they possess to give the Levites cities to dwell in, and you will also give the Levites the pasture lands around the cities. The cities will be for them to dwell in, and the pasture lands will be for their cattle, their flocks, and all their other animals. The pasture lands of the cities to be assigned to the Levites shall extend 1,000 cubits out from the city walls in every direction. You will measure out 2,000 cubits outside the city along the east side, 2,000 cubits along the south side, 2,000 cubits along the west side, and 2,000 cubits along the north side. With the city lying in the center, there will be the pasture lands of their cities. Now these are the cities you will give to the Levites, the 6 cities of asylum, which you must establish for the homicide to run to. And in addition, 42 other cities, a total of 48 cities with their pasture lands, which you will assign to the Levites. In assigning the cities from what the Israelites possess, take more from a larger group and fewer from a smaller one, so that each will cede cities to the Levites in proportion to the heritage which it receives. Cities of asylum. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you go across the Jordan into the land of Canaan, select for yourselves cities to serve as cities of asylum, where a homicide who has killed someone inadvertently may flee. These cities will serve you as places of asylum from the avenger of blood, so that a homicide will not be put to death until tried before the community. As for the cities to serve as cities of asylum, there a homicide who has killed someone inadvertently may flee. These cities will serve you as places of asylum for the avenger of blood, so that a homicide will not be put to death until tried before the community. As for the cities you assign, you will have 6 cities of asylum. You will designate 3 cities beyond the Jordan, and you will designate 3 cities in the land of Canaan. These will be cities of asylum. These 6 cities will serve as places of asylum for the Israelites and for the resident or transient aliens among them, so that anyone who has killed a person inadvertently may flee there. Murder and manslaughter. If someone strikes another with an iron instrument and causes death, that person is a murderer, and the murderer must be put to death. If someone strikes another with a death-dealing stone in the hand and death results, that person is a murderer, and the murderer must be put to death. Or if someone strikes another with a death-dealing club in the hand, and death results, that a person is a murderer, and the murderer must be put to death. The avenger of blood is the one who will kill the murderer, putting the individual to death on sight. If someone pushes another out of hatred, or throws something from an ambush, and death results, or strikes another with the hand out of enmity, and death results, the assailant must be put to death as a murderer. The avenger of blood will kill the murderer on sight. However, if someone pushes another without malice, aforethought, or without lying in ambush, throws some object at another, or without seeing drops upon another some death-dealing stone, or death results, although there was neither enmity nor malice, then the community will judge between the assailant and the avenger of blood in accordance with these norms. The community will deliver the homicide from the avenger of blood, and the community will return the homicide to the city of asylum where the latter had fled, and the individual will stay there until the death of the high priest, who has been anointed with sacred oil. If the homicide leaves at all the bounds of the city of asylum to which flight had been made, and is found by the avenger of blood beyond the bounds of the city of asylum, and the avenger of blood kills the homicide, the avenger incurs no blood guilt, for the homicide was required to stay in the city of asylum until the death of the high priest. Only after the death of the high priest may the homicide return to the land of the homicide's possession. This is the statute for you throughout all your generations, wherever you live, for rendering judgment. Whenever someone kills another, the evidence of witness is required to kill the murderer. A single witness does not suffice for putting a person to death. No indemnity. You will not accept compensation in place of the life of a murderer who deserves to die, but that person must be put to death, nor will you accept compensation to allow one who has fled to a city of asylum to return to live in the land before the death of the high priest. You will not pollute the land where you live, for bloodshed pollutes the land, and the land can have no expiation for the blood shed on it except through the blood of the one who had shed it. Do not defile the land in which you live, and in the midst of which I dwell, for I, the Lord, dwell in the midst of the Israelites. Numbers chapter 36, Inheritance of Daughters. The heads of the ancestral houses in a clan of the descendants of Gilead, son of Mashir, son of Manasseh, one of the Josephite clans, came up and spoke before Moses and Eleazar the priests, and before the leaders, who were the heads of the ancestral houses of the Israelites. They said, "The Lord commanded my Lord to apportion the land by lot for a heritage among the Israelites, and my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give the heritage of Zelophehad, our kinsman, to his daughters. But if they marry into one of the other Israelite tribes, their heritage will be withdrawn from our ancestral heritage and will be added to that of the tribe into which they marry. Thus the heritage that fell to us by lot will be diminished. When the Israelites celebrate the Jubilee year, the heritage of these women will be added to that of the tribe into which they marry, and their heritage will be withdrawn from that of our ancestral tribes." So Moses commanded the Israelites at the direction of the Lord. The tribe of the Josephites are right in what they say. This is what the Lord commands. With regard to the daughters of Zelophehad, they may marry anyone they please, provided they marry into a clan of their ancestral tribe, so that no heritage of the Israelites will pass from one tribe to another, but all the Israelites will retain their own ancestral heritage. Every daughter who inherits property in any of the Israelite tribes will marry someone belonging to a clan of her own ancestral tribe, in order that all the Israelites may remain in possession of their own ancestral heritage. Thus no heritage will pass from one tribe to another, but all the Israelite tribes will retain their own ancestral heritage. The daughters of Zelophehad did exactly as the Lord commanded Moses. Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah, Zelophehad's daughters, married sons of their uncles of their father's side. They married within the clans of the descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph. Hence their heritage remained in the tribe of their father's clan. Conclusion: there are the commandments and decisions which the Lord commanded the Israelites through Moses on the plains of Moab, beside the Jordan, opposite Jericho. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God, and the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Have a good day.